He kōna ipurangi tēnei nā te reo irirangi o Aotearoa.
G'day and welcome to Country Life. I'm Duncan Smith.
No mai whakarongo mai ki te ao tai whenua. Lovely to have your company for this final show of the year. I'm Sally Round. Today, Cosmo's out hunting for a Christmas tree.
Janina takes a tour of an old Hawke's Bay homestead, once the largest single-storey homestead in the Southern Hemisphere.
And I'm taking you to the King Country, where two teenagers are saddling up to show off their rodeo skills.
But first, sheep paddocks on a North Canterbury farm have been repurposed to bring joy to the festive season. Cosmo Kentish Barnes is in Swannanoa to find out more.
My name's Andrew McAllister and we're at Needlefresh Christmas Tree Farm.
And how many hectares of Christmas trees have you got here?
There's 22 hectares of land and we've got about 9 hectares in trees.
Why did you start growing Christmas trees? Did you see there was a gap in the market?
When I was overseas in my early 20s, I was working in Denmark and Scotland on Christmas tree farms, and I'd be busy working there and brainstorming ideas that I could do when I came home, and one of them was growing Christmas trees. And then saved up, bought 10 acres, a 4-hectare block, and put trees on that as soon as I got back home from my OE, and then eventually we put a house on there, outgrew that property, and in 2016 we moved down to here. It's about 10 k's further east towards Christchurch. Better location, more land, and all around better location.
So is this land good for growing Christmas trees?
Yeah, no, it's pretty good. It's free draining soil here. They don't like getting wet feet. They get root rot and die. We still get a little bit of that, but not much. But overall, it's real suited for growing Pinus radiata. And so we top them up with fertiliser, because obviously we're taking trees off the ground continuously each year, and it's rotation, so we plant and harvest every year on the same ground. So It's pretty hard on the land.
And how long does it take to grow a tree to the right size?
When we get the seedlings, they're a year old from a local nurseryman, and then they are on the property for around about 3.5 to 4 years for probably 90% of the harvest. And the other trees we sell as deluxe trees, the bigger, higher range trees, and they could be anywhere sort of 6 or 7 years.
Yes. Oh, well, let's go and have a look at some of these trees. So the trees here range from, 1 metre to about 3 metres?
Yeah, I guess we could sort of say probably more like 1.5 is probably the smaller trees we sell. And a 1.5 metre tree, it's probably only been on the property for 1.5 years. But the bulk of our crop, our standard cut, is all between 2.2 and sort of 2.5 metres. The smaller trees are $40. That's up to about 1.8 metres, and $45 for the trees that are slightly bigger.
And how many trees are you expecting to sell?
What we generally do each year is cut off at a certain point, because we try to retain a certain amount of trees for the following year for our larger tree market. But we'll move anywhere between sort of 3,000-4,000, something like that.
And you don't only sell them from the farm here?
No, this was probably half of our market. We have 2 pretty decent sites in Christchurch that we've been pretty well established at. One site for 20 years, believe it or not, that's the Eastgate Mall site. And we haul trees in there each morning, occasionally top it up throughout the day.
Once the Christmas tree season's over, when do you start planting new seedlings?
We get into the tree planting, when is it? It's like July, August, winter.
So there's a bit of a break.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Well, I mean, you wouldn't get a spade in the ground here at the moment.
It's pretty hard, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And there's ongoing maintenance with the trees. Obviously, they don't grow like this naturally. If we just put them in the ground and left them, they'd be very branchy, and most customers would be disappointed with what they get.
Oh, so do you hand shape the trees?
Yeah, we do. We go through every tree a number of times throughout the year. It's a pretty intense job, but some good, strong lads that help out. We make it happen pretty quickly. And there's obviously general maintenance for the land throughout the year.
Yes, and even though it's the middle of the day, in the middle of the week, there's a trickle of cars coming and going, and a couple have just picked up a tree. Well, in fact, they didn't pick it up, they cut it down themselves.
Yeah, we have a whole bunch of hand saws available on site for people that want to go and cut their own tree out. I think for a lot of people that's part of the experience. We might turn up and say, do you want some help? And they decline, quite happy to battle away with a blunt old $10 Balco saw from Mitre 10. But we've got the four-wheeler there, and we've got a little electric steel chainsaw and a sabre saw and different things that we offer to cut people's trees. If they get a deluxe tree, it's definitely in the chainsaw and the four-wheeler with the trailer. Those trees are pushing 100 odd kgs. They're big, heavy trees, but yeah, some people maybe don't understand how big they are until they get them in their house.
Well, already there are quite a few stumps around us, aren't there?
Yep. It was an early start. It was busy on the last weekend of November. Well, actually, yeah, we've been open, probably been trading for about 9 or 10 days now. Yeah.
And is this a good money earner?
Yeah, no, it goes well. We've been, like I said, we've been in it a fair while now, and it's grown into being well supported by we get people coming up from Ashburton, and believe it or not, I tied a tree on for a lady that was heading to Greymouth yesterday. So they were coming over here for an appointment, bought their tree, and took it back to Greymouth. So yeah.
Your trees are all over the South Island.
Yeah, they seriously are. The weekend we just had, the 1st of December it was Sunday the 1st of December, and it's always different every year with the dates, how they all unfold for us. And I sort of sent out a text to a few staff and that the Saturday night, just to warn them that I think we're in for a big day, and I think it was a record day for the farm. Yeah, it was very, very busy.
Now I can see a couple of paddocks of crops beyond the block of Christmas trees. What are you growing there?
That's pretty exciting, actually. That's a new venture we've got happening. I was looking for different opportunities to work with the land here. Traditional lamb grazing and cutting hay and whatnot doesn't really stack up. So we've actually got some sunflowers planted, quite a decent chunk of sunflowers, and also a maize-maze. So it's a silage maize crop that's being created as a maize for the public to come out and enjoy. So
you're making an actual maze for people to get lost in?
Exactly, to get lost in. Yeah.
That's a good idea. I can't think of any other outdoor mazes around here.
No, there's not. There was one out in Hallswell, and then the motorway went through that. They were renting that land off the government. So that's shut down. So that's what we're doing. The sunflowers will only last for about 3 to 4 weeks. So that'll be pretty cool. They're due to bloom roughly, they've got about a 90-day flowering period.
What will you do with the sunflowers?
The birds will have a pretty good feast. We'll do pick your own blooms or heads. That'll be part of it. And then we'll probably put that through the chopper and we'll mulch it back into the ground. So
it's all geared up towards getting people here onto the land.
Yeah, it's kind of, well, part of it's to like bring a city to the country, and the maize and the sunflowers, it's going to be an affordable attraction. We've got loads of room for parking. We'll have a little kiosk with some, cold drinks and ice creams, but it's going to be pretty low key at this stage. But North America, it's massive over there, and that's the main plant used to create a maize play or maize-maze.
So when it comes time to harvest, You'll harvest the maize for what? For cattle feed?
It's going to a local dairy farmer. Yeah, it'll be sold per kilo of dry matter. It'll be a high yielding crop because we're giving it everything it needs in terms of nutrition. It's getting water. It was put in quite early, a little bit of frost risk, but we managed to avoid the frosts, and we're hoping to get open for the summer holidays, January. So we're sort of pushing the boat out there. Whether or not it'll be high enough, we won't know, but at the end of the day, it'll be what it'll be.
Yep. So what sort of maize design have you gone for?
Well, when we drill the maize, we cross-stitch it, so we double the rate of seed to try to bulk up the crop so it's not so easy for kids to walk through, as in cheat. It's a real headache to get your head around, actually. It took quite a bit of time. I was fortunate to get a little bit of help with it. You're removing rows effectively, but it all has to be mathematically even. So when you get to the end of the field, your maize design is finishing at the same time. So it's quite hard to explain.
When you're in it, will it be straight lines as opposed to curves and
Absolutely.
circles?
So everything's taken out left and right angles and straight lines. Yeah.
Do you think that it might be quite challenging for some people to find their way to the centre and out?
Yeah, I mean, I got confused trying to get back out with the ride-on mower after I'd hacked out lines. I was getting lost. Obviously, I can't just drive anywhere. I can't damage the crop. So it'll get people thinking, that's for sure.
Excellent. Good luck with that.
Thank you.
So lots of things on the go here.
Oh, yeah, a little bit. I mean, it's sort of, I'm kind of in a bit of a sweet spot with staff at the moment, between my kids and my partner's kids. Like they're ideal employees to have around, and they all want an opportunity, so it keeps them busy, keeps my job slightly easier, so it's pretty cool.
That was North Canterbury Christmas tree grower Andrew McAllister. Since Cosmo recorded that story, Andrew's sold out of trees, but the maize-maze and pick your own sunflowers are due to open on or around January 6th at the Tram Road Farm in Swannanoa.
It's been a tough year for most farmers, what with low returns for sheep meat and wool, high on-farm costs and interest rates. It's been especially tough for those also battling the weather. Country Life producer Janina Schwanekes popped into the studio. And Janina, you've been on the phone to some of our farmer contacts.
That's right. Once a month we give farmers and growers a ring around the motu to see what's been happening on farm. I spoke to some of those worst hit by weather this year. First, we have Hawke's Bay's Federated Farmers President, Jim Galloway, sharing how his 2024 was.
We started out like we were still quite damp in the very start of the year, but then we had a dry autumn, just do the weather for a start, dry autumn, so that lasted until sort of winter. Then we had good rain in the winter, and then we've had a very, very dry August through till now.
This last week had a fair bit of rain.
While areas had a lot, they've had 150 in most places up there, they've had 100 plus sort of thing, and Gisborne's had quite good rain, but Hawke's Bay itself hasn't had a lot.
So rain might still be on a lot of farmers' Christmas wish lists this year.
Absolutely. Decent rain. Like we've just got this dribbly stuff where it's wet enough to put your wet weather gear on, but not really wet enough to do any good. So we're just getting that and full cloud cover. And I've actually got a jersey on, the first time I've had a jersey on for quite some time because it's been hot up until in the last month, up until now.
What is it that you think most farmers will be hoping to see next year and over the rest of the summer?
Drop in interest rates and autumn rain. Last year was a dry autumn, and 2019-20 drought, there was a very dry autumn and went right through to sort of late May before we got any rain, or June before we got any decent rain. So if we could get a normal summer dry and then an autumn rain sort of, I don't know, March, something like that, and then we can build up some feed for the winter, that would certainly be on most people's list that I've been talking to. And
what about yourself for Christmas? What are you up to this festive season?
Just a quiet one around home. Our son will be up for a day or two or over Christmas. So, yeah, just a quiet one. Later on in January, we've got to go up to Taranaki for a little bit, but that's the break at this point.
That was Jim Galloway from Hawke's Bay. It's also been a dry year for farmers in Canterbury, especially in Hurunui.
I'm Andy Fox and I farm in the Scargill Valley, which is about an hour's drive north of Christchurch. And we farm 5,000 Romney cross ewes and 250 Hereford Angus cross cattle, and probably, just at the moment, probably about 5,000 rabbits.
Oh dear. What can you tell me about the year that was 2024? How's it been for you guys down there?
2024 certainly hasn't been the easiest year. We had very little autumn growth, which meant that our autumn/winter green feed crops didn't amount to much. So we had to sell our calves at weaning. We usually winter them through. We also had to carry graze off our hoggets / tutus now to be grazed on someone else's farm further south, so that incurred quite a lot of expense. After having a little scary start to the spring, we have had a little rain now, and we're looking forward to some more rain. My best Christmas present would be 100 mils of rain, warm, steady rain on Christmas Day, but that might not meet with the expectations of some of the urban listeners.
Earlier in the year, you had an event to try and support some of the farmers battling some of the similar conditions you'd been facing. Can you tell me a little bit about how the Foxdown event went?
Yes, we had a farm break in early September, and so we had Ben Hurley, the comedian, came up, and we ended up with over 300 people coming. And it's just a chance for farmers to get off farm and connect, forget about their issues for a little while. And one of the most therapeutic things that we've discovered is that knowing you're not the only person going through the same thing. And so whilst we pay for entertainment and Ben Hurley hit the mark perfectly, probably the best part of the evening is the opportunity to chat with other farmers and other people, and we often see neighbours catching up with neighbours, and also people catching up with friends, and also people meeting new friends or new farmers from the district that they haven't met before.
Sounds lovely. And obviously Christmas time is another perfect chance for friends and family to get together. What are your plans for the holiday season?
We have 3 boys, and 2 of them are in the UK. So my son Tim has a job up in Gisborne. He's just been promoted, so he can't leave. So Kath and I are heading up to Gisborne for Christmas. We head away on Saturday, and we will be up there for 7 days. It's kind of nice to get off farm. It's very hard when you live at your place of work to relax at the same time. There's always stuff that needs doing. So it's nice to have an opportunity to get away. I've got a very capable stock manager who's going to look after things over Christmas, and then we're coming back on the 27th, and Max being 24 years old, New Year's Eve is really important to him, so he's having a holiday over the New Year period.
Andy Fox in Canterbury I was speaking to there. It's been a different story for Southland dairy farmer John Pemberton, where the region was hit with heavy rain that left paddocks sodden for most of the year.
John Pemberton, we are farming with my wife and 3 school-aged children, are farming 2 properties either side of Edendale and Southland, dairy farming, about 1,200 cows.
How's your 2024 been this year?
I think if you asked most farmers in Southland, they would say it's one that they will always remember, but they'd rather forget.
Southland this year, you've really been hit with wet weather non-stop, really.
Yeah. So like we've had much bigger storms like your 2010 and such like. But what we've had is continual rain. Like, you know, you're trying to think back, when was the last time we didn't have rain? When we got into the back half of August, September, October and November were really challenging months. And this is on the back of a very wet autumn. We had a little bit of a reprieve for about 3 weeks in the middle of winter, but you know, we were feeling pretty beaten up by the time we got to the end of last season. I guess the vulnerability of continual rain showed us that you know, there's some challenges in Southland, and my understanding there's going to be a lot more concrete poured this year, but trying to find somebody still farming who could remember a season like it was quite hard work. So a lot of us would like to think we don't see another spring like it. It was just relentless, and you know, people were just having to go to plan, you know, you plan A, B and C for the spring, but we were up to Z by the end of it. Dairy prices are certainly easing that pain for us, although a lot of it's just gone back into costs. We've grown about 25 to 30% less grass to date, so everybody's feed budgets, pretty much everyone's spent all their board-in feed budgets for the year, and those that didn't have board-in feed budgets have just had to spend anyway. Sun's out now. It's good. We're catching up on tractor work. It's a pretty tight window for getting things done by Christmas. We're all about 6 weeks behind. Contractors are under the pump. Machinery's probably had quite a hard time for the farmers. The contractors haven't done too much work. They won't have the hours on the machine that they normally have by this time of year, but certainly the farm vehicles have had quite a hard time with the conditions they've been operating in. So everyone's well and truly looking forward to a Christmas break. And yeah, I think everyone's just looking for a bit of stability, whether it be pricing, regulation or the weather really.
Are you going to get much of a chance to have a break? Are you on farm, off farm this year?
We've got a little bit of time off over Christmas. We've got some other family trips coming up later in the year, so we're sort of just having to knuckle down a little bit in that space and make sure that we're set up well for us to be off farm at a later date. So from what I can sort of hear, most people are making it happen, and I think people are making sure they've got plenty of staff around so that the staff are looked after well at the same time too. So everyone's sort of pulled together through the tough spring, and it's been quite good to see here everyone's standing back a little bit and not being too focused just on themselves, which is you know, how we get stronger communities. Last year he went boating on the Queenstown Lake on the Wakatipu on the Christmas Day, and it was really good, all the cousins together, no big stress of a big meal and the lake to ourselves, because everyone's at home having the big Christmas lunch. So we're going to try and do something similar on Lake Hawea this summer with all the cousins together and the grandparents.
John Pemberton in Southland. The year has ended on a brighter note in terms of prices, with dairy and red meat both looking up.
This is Country Life on RNZ National 101 FM.
Now, on the last show of the year, we always like to have a count-up of where the team's been to over the past 12 months. Our producers try to get around as much of rural New Zealand as possible to meet farmers and growers and other rural New Zealanders at their place. So, what's the grand total, Sally?
Well, it adds up to 97 towns and communities around the country. which surprised even us. Cosmo's been roaming to Waipunamu, the South Island, from Clinton in South Otago to Linkwater in the Marlborough Sounds. And Janina and I have been far and wide in the North Island. I've loved meeting farmers and growers from Halcombe and Norsewood in the south to as far as Te Kao in the far north.
And I've been from bushclad Motu between Gisborne and Bay of Plenty to the coastal waters of Homewood and Wairarapa, and many more in between, including the rolling hills of Central Hawke's Bay. Looking to escape the excitement of the city for a more leisurely pace? Well, this grand old country lady might be just the tonic. It certainly was for Chris Stockdale and Jeanette Werner, who traded up life in Sydney's hospitality scene for a more rustic setting in Central Hawke's Bay. The husband and wife welcome people to share in their bucolic lifestyle at Wallingford Homestead, which they operate as boutique accommodation.
Hello, I'm Jeanette Werner and I'm the hello person at Wallingford.
And I'm Chris, I'm the chef / co-manager, married to Jeanette.
The couple left their metropolitan life in Sydney to move to Wallingford at the end of 2018.
We wanted to leave the big city and all the stresses that are associated with the city behind. And as a young person, I love the countryside. Really, my dream was to live in a house like this. But that's not how we came here. It was just, we'd sold our restaurant and our business and our apartment, and we were just really looking for a change. And this was literally any job. Chris found it, and we turned up for the interview. And we really didn't know what we were getting ourselves into, but we loved the feel of the place. And we also really loved Gareth too, who's the owner.
The idea of coming back to New Zealand was something I did not expect. I was born in Nekatohuna, raised in Hamner Springs, but I lived in Sydney for pretty much 30 years. And we had pretty successful businesses, employing lots of people. So our staff were about 40 plus. So with that came pressures of running your own small business. And I guess Jeanette and I were always thinking about what if, the other side of the fence, moving to country and living a totally different life to what we had in Sydney.
The old homestead was once the home of a prominent Hawke's Bay farming family, the Ormonds, and a central hub in the community. These days, it has a new purpose.
It was in the Ormond family for 4 generations, and they were all John and Jacks, but the initial John had come from the English village, Wallingford. He was a farmer, and it was a station, so at its height it was definitely over 4,000 acres. And then it went down through succession and stayed in the family for 4 generations. And their family too, I think, segued into politics, because Sir John, who was knighted, was the head of the meat board and really introduced New Zealand lamb to the world. So very central to, I suppose, the nuts and bolts of rural New Zealand. And this was very much like a house that was full, because one of the Johns, had 11 children. So it was a house that was full of life. But more than that too, they were a family that they were all quite musical. So there was lots of singing and entertaining and joy with the school and the church. It was the epicentre of the community. It was very much like, if you needed advice or to see someone, this is where you came. And you can see that in the guest book, which goes back, I think it begins in, 1921? But it's at least 100 years of people who have come and stayed before it was in this capacity of a business, when it was just a big open home full of, joy.
When was this homestead built, actually?
1853, but it did burn down in the early 1900s and was then rebuilt upon the plan with numerous extensions, like the schoolroom wing and the restaurant wasn't there, in the original format.
And can you tell me about the property as it is now, accommodation and a chance for people to experience this little piece of history?
It's an incredibly beautiful place. We only have the 5 en-suites, so at any given period when it's full, there are 10 people here. So it allows for a huge amount of privacy but still there's that sense of community. So in the main sitting room, traditionally called the hall, people gather for a pre-dinner drink. So that's that sense of where everyone, it's kind of country introductions, you know, where everyone meets each other, that sense of community. So you all meet there, that's a bit of a hub in the centre, and then you go in to sit on your separate tables. But often the connection's so strong, people will call across the room and join tables, and that's half the fun of it for me.
Should we go head inside the homestead? The homestead now also boasts a popular restaurant open 3 nights a week, including for locals with a reason for celebrating. You can just picture the lively atmosphere, glasses clinking as people get into the festive spirit.
To 14 people, so this is your typical setup in that we have, you know, 5 tables in the dining room, so we're full at 14. On Saturday nights we do, local people do come in if they're celebrating a special occasion.
There's some beautiful old wood furniture here. Is some of this original to the property or?
The piano is original. Gareth did purchase all the other furniture, but he has a love of antiques and he's very cognizant of keeping all the furniture within, you know, keeping with the house.
And look at these beautiful hardwood floors as well, just beautiful features really. And the wood panelling as well in the hall that we just passed.
It's all made of native timbers. And yeah, well, this room was very rarely used, but now it's really built a hub.
One of the other really special things about the homestead and the accommodation service, you understand, is of course the food. Can you tell me a little bit about that and your process for sourcing local ingredients?
Food revolves around the whole concept of the slow movement. And the slow movement was about knowing where your food comes from. I guess slowing down when you eat it. I guess the importance of the environment, being sustainable, supporting local producers. And I guess that's what we try to do in Sydney to an extent with our wine lists and the food that we source. So bringing that to New Zealand was something we wanted to carry on. And of course, being in rural New Zealand was a lot easier than being in Sydney. So, I mean, as a chef, coming to Wallingford was exciting because a lot of the produce you can find in the ground, so like kaffir lime leaves and all the citrus and figs, and, you know, for me that was quite incredible. Also having the truffles was something that was for chefs is a bit mind-blowing. It goes from spending a couple of $1,000s a week on truffles to coming here where you just go down the paddock and dig a few up.
Is part of that because of the history and you know, this was once an isolated rural homestead, so they had to have good food supplies. What were the kitchen and gardens like when you moved in?
Well, yeah, no, the gardens, I think in the old days, like the whole front paddock out here was the veggie garden. So they used to have about 30 to 40 people working on the farm or inside the house. So they were self-sufficient, they had everything there. And obviously being a working farm, you had the cattle and you had the sheep. We try to grow our own veggies, but I am a city boy at heart, I guess, and everything I touch I kill. I am getting better. Realistically, we do, because the restaurant is what it is and we have quite a lot of people coming through, we have to go outside Wallingford to source those products. And that's where we sort of really try to hunt down those sort of producers that have similar sort of philosophies as us, or, you know, and that makes so much easier when you come across, you know, people who are like, you know, sustainable practices and really passionate about what they do, and that there's a story behind it where we can transition that story into the menu. The menu consists of 9 things often, so it's what we call a degustation, so small plates with quite a variety, and that will consist of fresh fish, seafood, which is with Parongaho and all those local beaches along the way. Seafood is quite an important part of this area. Features things from the land like lamb and beef, and obviously the vegetables. Being in the Hawke's Bay, the produce and variety of produce is quite incredible. So it's using what we can source.
You mentioned, once upon a time Wallingford would have been, in this area, a quite large employer of many people working the land, and obviously in its new role it still provides a lot of employment. Can you talk me through what that looks like in the restaurant and that side of things? How many people do you have working for you?
Basically, I'm the only chef here, so I do a lot of the menu myself, and we have geared up the kitchen so we can sort of achieve that. So we open the restaurant about 3 nights a week.
It's a small team, so we employ about 8 people, and we all do a little bit of multitasking. I suppose that often when people are here, there's as many staff as there are guests, which makes for a very intimate experience. But, I mean, you can see Lilia runs the floor, but she's helping set up the house. And Linda's head of housekeeping, but she'll help me do brekkie. So, we have 2 outside, maintenance and a gardener. And Chris works with kitchen hands, and I work with Lilia. And Sarah, who's our accountant, will also come and help us on the floor. So it's a really tight-knit team that most of the staff live within a 10-minute radius. I know Keith is Waipakaro, so he travels the furthest of everyone. Sarah's a local farmer, and Lilia and Steve farm, and Linda lives at Pronghau. So, it's local people.
One of the team, Lilia, shares what it means to be part of the homestead today.
So, my name is Lilia, and I live just a few kilometres away from the homestead here, near Pronghau. It definitely wasn't an industry that I had worked in before, probably more so an opportunity coming up, and me being so close by, I thought I would just jump at the chance. Well, I feel really lucky to have found work so close by.
And what is it that keeps you coming back?
Chris's food, 100% the food.
Chris and Jeanette say they feel lucky to be able to share their slice of country life with visitors.
I know what's unique about this place is that, you can come here and just, it's the whole idea of disconnecting. So, I mean, mobile reception's not great. And you sort of disconnect to reconnect, so you can just, I don't know, it's that whole idea of that I heard this new thing the other day called JOMO, the joy of missing out.
Yes.
And it's just, you can go and sit on the balcony and just read a book or fall asleep or be in the sun or just watch the birds, watch the animals, and it's okay. And it's more than okay, it's just really rejuvenating.
That was Chris Stockdale and Jeanette Werner speaking at Wallingford Homestead in central Hawke's Bay. Janina Schwanneker also spoke with Lilia Santiago. Now, you can find photos from inside the homestead and more details about its history on our website. That's rnz.co.nz/countrylife.
Hi, I'm Sam Neill here at Two Paddocks, listening to Country Life on RNZ, my favourite show.
I'm taking you to a horse stables in King Country now, where 2 teenage sisters who've been winning accolades in the rodeo world are saddling up their mounts.
Do you want me to help? Can you grab the saddle? Dice's
Western style saddles?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. They're the best. Aren't they?
Yeah.
A lot comfier.
In America, this is probably what everyone uses. Like, when they do their ranching and stuff. This is just the ideal. This has a big horn on the front, and it's got a big seat at the back that holds you in.
That's Lila, saddling up Dice. Putting gear on Bullet is her younger sister Riley. How many horses have you got between you?
My competition horse is Boston, and then I've got my backup horse / jackpot horse, Dixie. And then I've got my young horse, Sugar, that I'm training for my dad, and just a rope horse. And then I've got a little project called Poco.
You've got a lot on your plate, Riley.
Yeah.
What sort of horses are they?
So these are quarter horses, and these are the ideal breed for rodeo because they're real fast. There are thoroughbreds too, and heaps of other breeds that people use. but they mostly use quarter horses. They've got big bums.
Can you just run through a little bit about what you're wearing?
Well, do you know we wear cowboy hats, jeans, boots,
Button-up shirts.
yeah, long sleeve shirts. So like all of it's like to protect you from like the sun and stuff, because everything
Yeah.
came from ranching and then everyone decided to turn it into a sport. So you have your boots so that you can protect from all the rocks and stuff, and then you've got all your jeans so that you don't get like rope burn.
Yeah, and you wear your cowboy hats and your jeans and everything when you're behind the shirts and when you're in the arena. But then most of the time all the kids just wear caps and shirts and their jeans.
Now you've got some pretty special belts on. Tell me about those.
Oh yeah, so we've got our belts, they're from the States, we got them customised, and then our buckles, heaps of people win them, but some people buy them. This one I actually won from the junior breakaway roping champion.
In 2023?
Yes, yeah, and then I've also got a few from jackpots.
I've only won jackpot buckles. This one's just one from Taupo who won the series.
Junior barrel racer?
Yeah.
You won that in 2023 as well.
Yeah.
And you've got your names on the back.
Yes, yeah. In America, everyone had names on their belts, so we all got names on our belts. But no, heaps of people just like get R.M. Williams belts, anything to keep your jeans up.
Hi, I'm Riley Wood and I'm 14 and I'm representing barrel racing and team roping.
Hi, I'm Lila Wood and I'm 16. I'm representing breakaway roping. Okay, we'll head down this way.
It's been a busy year for these homeschooled teens who are ready for another practice at Ian and Katie Smith's arena, west of Tokoroa. In October, the sisters were fresh from competing in Australia as part of a national Trans-Tasman team. Before that, they were part of the first high school team representing New Zealand to compete in the United States at the National High School Finals Rodeo in Wyoming. You heard them talk about breakaway, barrel racing and team roping. Well, they're all events which are part of rodeo competitions. The season's just heating up, and with Ian explaining things on the sideline, they're getting ready to roll again. First, breakaway roping, when they aim to lasso a small cattle beast out of a gate in 2 or 3 seconds.
Sit down. Do a smaller circle so he doesn't like take off on you. When did you last ride him? Going.
What are Lila and Riley doing at the moment?
So they're just rounding up a small bunch of cattle, and we'll put them into a pen, and a little later they may start breakaway roping with them.
So that'll do.
It's a timed event, so you have a cattle beast in the pen there in the holding box, and then you've got your horse box to the side. When the rider's ready, he's got his horse backed into the roping box there. He or she's got a rope in their hand, and you'll have a man on the gate. The rider will nod to the gate man when she or he's ready, and the beast will come racing out.
Oh no! Dice? Oh, dude. My rope got caught. I have to do another one.
And the object of the game is to rope that animal as quick as they can.
People will want to know, are any animals harmed in the making of this sport?
No, definitely not. No, we do our best to keep them safe, and it's not hard on them.
When the rope goes round the neck of these cows, what happens?
You'll notice that the Lila and Riley's rope is secured to their saddle horn by a small piece of string. So when they stop their horse and the rope comes tight, the little piece of string just breaks. So it has no effect on the on the animal itself. The animal just carries on running to the end of the arena. So
And how tight is it around the neck?
it's just a slip knot, so it's not tight at all. Yeah. In the US, out on the ranches, they got big areas, big pastures, and so they don't have the yards handy like what we do over here. So they have to go out there and rope the cattle that need to be doctored in the pasture. So, and I guess calf roping stem from that, and then breakaway has stem from calf roping. Breakaway roping sort of caters for younger folk, girls and boys, and upwards.
Oh, you mongrel thing. Keep chasing it. Oh my god. I have to do another one. That was so bad. Lila the cow. I know. I'm just trying to get myself sorted out. Can you help me put it away this time? Oh, I top noted it. That was better than the other one. Though. My turn? Yeah. Put the cow away on dice. Lila. You stay there. Oh, she got left behind. I totally got left behind. Good job, Riley. That was good for a first one. After not practicing for a while. Steady. Steady. Trotting. Steady. Oh. Yeah, see? I told you got left behind in the last one. Shh. Hey.
There you go. Good job, Riley.
They spend countless hours training and doing slow work.
Shelley Woods is the girl's mum.
There's 5 or 6 girls and it's milliseconds between them. So yeah, they do a lot of clinics and a lot of lessons and just trying to get everything perfect. The competition is hot.
Shelley, are you a rider?
My husband is the rider. Lila was about 3 and he started looking around so she could get on a horse. And then that led to us getting a couple of horses and then going into pony club, and then we met the rodeo people and everyone was just so nice. Yeah.
Has it taken over your life?
Yes. It so has.
And so what's your involvement? You must spend a lot of time taking the girls to competitions.
Well, Julian does all the driving with the horses. I organise any paperwork, cook the food, do the shopping, the washing. But the girls are really good. Anything to do with the horses, they do it all themselves. I do nothing. They work and buy all their own gear. If they want something flash, they've got to buy it.
And you've been homeschooling them, have you?
Yeah, for about 4 years now, I think.
Was that because of the riding?
Yeah, that had a little bit to do with it, because school got in the way of riding horses. And yeah, there were just lots of reasons.
And do you travel far and wide?
We do. Yeah, we're off to South Island for Labour weekend. Yeah.
And as a mum, it looks quite risky to me.
When they were show jumping, I really didn't want them to start jumping, 1.20 metre and all the big heights. So I kind of thought that maybe, barrel racing wouldn't be as risky, but no. When you get on a slippery ground or something like that, yeah.
Time to practice the barrel racing, and the big metal drums are moved into place. Also on the sidelines, in cowboy hat, jeans and check shirt, is Katie Smith.
It's a timed event. You've got to race around 3 barrels and home again without knocking any over. If you knock over a barrel, that's an extra... It's at 5 seconds on your time. So fastest man wins, or girl, woman. Yeah, so it's a cloverleaf pattern. So you'll start here and then you'll go round this drum to the right, and then you'll head over to that drum, do a left-hand turn on that one, do another left-hand turn on the last drum, and then straight home.
And testing the horse's agility and speed, I guess?
And speed, and you want straight lines, and you want tight turns, but not too tight, because then you you slip over or you hit a drum or...
That's very good. Should I bullet through? Or should I just do a run?
And then do a fast one after.
Okay, I'll do like while she pulls him off Mum, and then we'll do a run.
Just be prepared for his fast one. No. Look.
Pull it. Pull it. Pull. Pull it. Pull. Pull.
Turn him.
Pull.
He doesn't stop when he's barrel resting, you have to turn him.
Okay, good luck.
I'm nervous.
So you're often riding a strange horse, like you did in the States? Because you couldn't take your own horses with you, could you?
No, we couldn't. So yeah, we are always riding other horses, and that's the same with Australia. You know, you gotta
just jump on different horses. You get to probably warm them up a little bit, and then you got to go out and make a fast run.
Oh man! Good job.
Oh. Hey, that was actually pretty good.
Wait, Lila, how should I do this? Should I like neck running around the barrels, or should I just go one-handed, like Boston?
Go one-handed, but try and like neck rein him a bit. Okay. I know. He turned them so good. You need to be competitive, but you also need to be humble. Although we all compete against each other, we're all cheering each other on, you know, we're all at the fence there watching each other's runs and stuff.
It's more you're like competitive with yourself rather than with another person. Everyone's friends and we're never really enemies as such. Yeah, we're pretty supportive of each other.
You must need good hand-eye coordination to get that rope around the...
Well, yeah, I'm actually have very bad aim, so I kind of just taught myself muscle memory because I haven't got the best aim, but
I'm
I
not
somehow
very coordinated, but
somehow managed to do it. Look, damn, Bullet's missed it, I think. He's running so fast. Go, Bullet! Oh, don't run into him.
Tighter, settle down.
I know,
He probably hasn't done a run in Yonkers.
He was actually loving that.
Good boy.
What do you say to people who think that it's a cruel sport, rodeo?
It's not. We look after our animals. We take as best care of them as we can.
Yeah, they all get like well fed, well watered. At the rodeos, you see some people build like canopies for them in the yard so that they don't get in the heat and stuff. If anything does happen to them, you know, you have like a vet there to help them out, and you know they are well looked after.
The animals only have to work for a few seconds, just come out and do their job, and then they're finished for the day, and they get to relax in the sun. And
Should I try one more run? Because I think that went good, so I think I could push it a little more.
Yeah, probably from the second to the first and second.
I might end up embarrassing myself, but I'm going to try it.
Bullet did not want to turn.
Oh, he's excited. See, he's jig jogging. He's like, well, let's go. Steady. Just chill your grill, will ya? Oh, did you see that stop? Oh my God.
How far do you want to take this sport?
I would like to go be one of the top people, go to America, do stuff in America. At least that's the plan, but...
Yeah, everyone always wants to go big or go home, but you gotta put hours in sometimes.
Do you mind that?
No.
Hours, the practice?
No, that's
Sometimes.
fun. Practicing is fun.
Sometimes it gets annoying, like when it's really cold, but...
Yeah. Sometimes, like, if it just starts raining or something, it's like, ugh. But then most of the time it's quite fun.
Yeah.
Just being out with your horses.
And what would you say to somebody thinking about getting into the sport?
Do it. Just do it. Everyone's got to start somewhere, you know. Like we are all right now, but we did start like at the very bottom, you know, like just throwing a rope. We had no idea what we're doing, and we're like going to America and stuff. Just do it. It's like, yeah, it doesn't matter if you're good or bad, because there's heaps of people that'll help you get better.
Yeah, a new beginner comes up to a rodeo and everyone's just trying to help you and trying to give you advice to get better.
Well, that's it for the final episode of Country Life for the year.
It's been great to have your company. Thanks for joining us. Over the Christmas and summer break, we'll be bringing you the best of country life for 2024, so keep tuning into our podcast.
In the spirit of Christmas, we'd love you to give us a plug on social media or tell a friend about the show. Just click the share button in this app to send this episode to a friend.
And you can get in touch with us by emailing the team at country@rnz.co.nz.
The stories in this episode were produced and presented by Cosmo Kentish Barnes, Sally Round and Janina Schwaneker. And in the studio production team today, David Knowles and Phil Bench.
Also a big thanks to all our studio engineers, William Saunders, Steve Burridge and Mark Chesterman, for their work during the year.
From me, Duncan Smith.
And me, Sally Round.
Merry Christmas.